see. Not yet. Oh, 30 seconds of nothing. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to turn your dream into a workable plan. And I say all of that to say this, that
Aren't you start wrapping up your work?
that's my Alexa in the background. Anyway, um, I say all of that to say this. Sometimes, being a coach can be hard, especially when we've been watching our clients. So for me, a lot of my work has been behind the scenes, working with a lot of big ticket clients or just bigger businesses in general for the last 2 years. And when I see other coaches in my space, in my arena, who are just starting out, and after working with, I would say, like, bigger marketing strategies, and when I come back to working with entrepreneurs or coaches who are just starting out, it's sometimes really hard to get to a space where um, um, where I can feel good about helping my fellow entrepreneurs. And so a lot of my work has been behind the scenes. So of course, there's a higher ticket package that you would have to pay to work with me in that capacity, because I'm like doing all the stuff, managing accounts, marketing automations and strategies, and like that, that high level marketing strategy stuff. Um, and lately, I've been meeting a lot of entrepreneurs who are in a different space, right? And sorry, I'm trying to find my notes here because I jotted down some notes. But yeah, so I've been working with, like I said, more high level entrepreneurs, and sometimes when I talk to, I want to say just coaches who are starting out, but they're coaches who I've come up in the industry with, that we've taken some programs together in the past. And because I've worked on higher level marketing strategies, like when I come and I go to networking events, or we have like these Zoom calls, and then I start explaining some of the high level strategy, it kind of goes over their head. And this workshop that I'm hosting, the Bring a Bestie workshop, which is like teaching that 5-figure launch strategy that I've been working on with my clients behind the scenes, now I'm coming to the forefront and bringing all of that knowledge that I've gathered over the last 2 years in particular, but ever since I left the corporate space in 2018, I have been doing a lot of the behind the scenes work for a lot of bigger brands that you guys have probably seen online. And it's not something that I advertise. I was kind of like the secret weapon behind the scenes. I'm like you won't see a lot of my client roster like front and center. Like, I've never shouted out any of like my client launches or anything like that, because I just thought it was a you know like, but I realized that not a lot of you who are my friends here, either on the channel, on the page, a lot of you like haven't seen me grow in the online space, because I've been so behind the scenes these last 2 to 3 years. And so what I'm going to be doing in the Bring a Bestie workshop is helping you to create a launch strategy that is going to, bring all of the stuff that you've learned. Because most of you that I have on my page now, like, we just become friends. That's just how the algorithm has been working these days. But I know a lot of people who we've come through marketing programs together, and I just wanted to bring this this strategy home for those of you who are interested. And so there are three things I'm going to be talking about today. One is to start with the long-term planning. And that's where we're going to start in the workshop that's happening on Thursday, is really looking at the long-term plan. Because a lot of times, right, we come out here and like, oh my gosh, I have an idea for a launch. And I'm not saying it's just you. There's a lot of, my higher ticket clients that for whatever reason, and we're not going to get into that on this training today, but for whatever reason, there were these last minute launches that would come up, or, like my clients would get invited to speak on a summit, or um, anyway, we'd have to put together like these last minute opt-in pages and funnels and email sequences and all of those things. And there was a really quick turnaround time for those. So I got to be really good at building those kinds of things. Um, but what I learned from working with, people who are just starting and the people who are, have been in the business for a long time and they're established coaches, and I was there to help them scale from 6 figures to 7 figures. What was happening was, if we lost sight of the long term goal, that's when things would go completely sideways. When we'd throw in last minute webinars or things into the mix, a lot of that last minute planning, we would have to shortcut. And I always like to bring it back to my years working in the refinery as a project manager managing $1 million projects, when we would call them like added work. So when we'd add work at the last minute, that's where everything would go off the rails, because we had the time, we had the budget, we had everything set up for, this project. We had the time and the money set aside for this level of project, right? This project scope. Then we would add stuff to that. Then we're making these, on the fly decisions about what we're going to cut, because, right, budgets, although I was working for a very large corporation, right, budgets were pretty much set in stone, and everything was accounted for, from parts, we had to buy, material, raw material to do the work, and and then we had to buy the labor, right? We had to fly in some contractors, we had to pay our staff. A lot of it was just, it's time and money. That's why I always harp on time and money when we're looking at planning. And whether it's short-term planning, long-range planning, you always have to consider time and money. And especially when you're a smaller entrepreneur just starting, time and money, right? Those two resources, like if you're not familiar, I have what I call the time wheel, and those are the four core resources that you need. It's time, ideas, money, and energy. So time and money are opposite sides of the wheel, right? I've already talked about those. Ideas and energy, right? We have a lot of ideas and we don't have the energy to execute. And when I say energy, yes, it's physical energy, but do we have the actual bandwidth to execute on the thing that we want to execute? So for me, right, I announced the Biz Bestie workshop last week, and I was able to turn around that funnel in like a couple of hours, because I've been doing funnels, I've been doing landing pages, I've been doing email sequences, like and yeah, and my funnel wasn't complicated at all. It was super simple. So I was able to turn it around quickly. The hardest part for me is writing copy. I don't like writing copy. That's why you'll see my face here on videos a lot more than you'll see my written copy. So there, that's just what it is. Start number one, start with the long-term plan. And that's what we're going to be doing first on Thursday's workshop, as we're looking at the long-term plan. I'm not going to get too much into detail today. If you want to know my long-term planning process, go ahead and join the workshop. The price has gone up. It was 2 for $20 over the weekend. I let it go an extra day because we had some technical difficulties. And then the price just went up today, which is Tuesday. and the workshop is happening on Thursday. So if you want in, it's now two for $45. So it's 22.50 a person. And if you're sitting on the fence because you're like, I don't have a biz bestie to invite, just send me a DM and I can get you in for the single ladies price. But yeah, it's very cool if you bring a bestie. I did a whole training on that. Why I think the bring a bestie concept is so important. Because right when we have a bestie to bring along with us, one, we have a built-in accountability partner. Because sometimes we get thrown into these masterminds and you're like, oh, find a buddy. Like you don't know them from Joe, and it's hard for you to really open up. So if you choose your own bestie that you want to bring to this workshop, and I'll be doing a couple more workshops in this series over the next couple of months or so, and we're going to be working on different parts of the launch strategy and the funnels and all of that. We're going to be working on those things together. But the whole bring a bestie concept was a download that I got at the gym because my daughter got a gym membership and I got the add-on buddy membership. And it's the whole reason why I've been working out consistently over the last 3 weeks. So accountability is super important, especially when we're out here in this entrepreneurship journey, right? We have to make sure we get to that. And I know it's so easy to not finish things. And that's why I have a productivity mentor that helps me. And his book is called Start Finishing. Because he knows that there are a lot of us out here that start a lot of things, but we don't finish. And like I need my own accountability buddy, and I have an accountability group there. But it's still the same thing where I didn't choose my bestie to bring with me. We got kind of lumped together and paired up together, and we had to build up rapport before we started to really, open up and share and, really trust each other for that accountability process. So that was not in my notes. I don't know who needed to hear that piece today. So the first thing is, right, start with the long term. Second thing, create milestones, because you will not know if you actually hit your targets if you don't set them. And we will be looking at a lot of different things. So if you're not familiar with the peace planning process, it is purposeful planning, evaluating your resources, which I just talked about, right, with the time wheel, aligning your products and programs in your launch plan. This, if you keep launching and you don't have a product that is in alignment that goes all the way down to your final offer, you can use an ascension model, you can use a single product model, but everything that you're talking about has to lead to that final offer that you're trying to get people into, right? It's common sense. If you've been doing marketing for any length of time, you know that there has to be some kind of end game to your marketing. And that's what these milestones are here to help you. We're going to be looking at your milestones during the workshop and making sure that, and it's a workshop, it's not a webinar where you're going to come and you're not going to do anything. My goal, and I hope I can get all of it done within the 2 hours. Right now, we have a pretty tight knit group, so I'm thinking I can, we can get through the stuff. There's time for hot seats and Q&A, so I'm excited that it's a really tight knit group right now. But right, we're going to be working on creating milestones for you. So, like, what is a milestone exactly? So let's just use travel, for example. If you're going from A to B, which is what a funnel strategy pretty much is, you're trying to take your client from cold, to being customer. What is their point A and what's their point B that they're trying to get to ultimately? So today, that's why this video is coming out late. My husband and I drove a couple of hours to go hang out, and then we drove back. But along the way, it's like, oh, okay, we are here. There's like mile markers, like, okay, there's this place. Oh, there's that lake. Oh, there's that, outlet mall or whatever. So, we kind of, it's like Hansel and Gretel, like dropping breadcrumbs. It was like, oh, okay, so we're almost there. And we, when we took the exit to get to our final destination, it's like, oh, okay, we hit our exit and we knew we were almost there. So those are the kind of milestones that we're going to create. How do you know when you've actually hit your target? And part of the launch strategies that I set up for my clients is setting up these milestones so that okay, this portion, like all these things belong together, and once this section is done, then you know this chunk is done. Like, you've hit this one milestone. Okay, so now these things are done, and we're going to be working on this piece. Not to say that your plans can't be, I'm going to say, perpendicular. If you're familiar with Gantt charts, they are charts that have, this project is like this, but it kind of overlaps here. So it's like a line graph that goes sideways, if you're familiar with those, right? Start date here, this milestone should be hit here, but we're also starting work on this project. Kind of in here, we're doing like some pre-work, and then this phase of the project will go, there's some overlap that will happen with your milestones, but we will be working on creating those milestones together so that when this section is done. A lot of the times when we're working on the piece planning process, we go through the first three, planning, evaluating, aligning, right? You look at your product suite and you're aligning your ascension model and whatever. C in piece stands for commit, right? You have to create those milestones and commit to those milestones. Or like, if you keep shifting the target, it's like you go to like an archery range, and some guy keeps moving the target. Like, you line up your shot and you're like, okay, I can't see anything. I can't hit anything because that guy keeps moving. Or like the whack-a-mole, right? I don't know. It's like, oh, I thought I got it, and like he went, right? That's why we have to create milestones so that we know what we're hitting, we know what targets we're setting. Um, and I am a list maker. I love checking things off my box. That's why I prefer Asana um, over Trello for project management, because there's something so satisfying about like checking things off and it disappearing instead of like moving it from one Kanban column to the other one. It's like moving it from here to there to the complete pile. It doesn't have the same, I don't know, dopamine hit as checking something off and then having it disappear. I love seeing my task disappear at the end of the day and the week. Um, okay, so we've done long-term long-term planning, creating milestones so we know where we are along that long-term plan, and we have to create small goals. Small, right? And I talk about this a lot when we're talking about project planning, project management. And it goes hand in hand with milestones, but um how do I explain the difference between milestone and a goal? I would say, if we're looking at it from a project standpoint, I would say the milestones would be like when you hit, when you're done with all the tasks under that phase. We were going to build your launch plan in phases, right? There's phase 1, 2, 3, 4, however many phases. Right, it depends on how many products you have and like what you're selling. So that will determine how many phases you're going to create in your launch strategy. But the goals, right? Usually those goals that we set as entrepreneurs are monetary goals. So when you're going through your launch, what are some monetary goals that you can set for each phase of your project? So that's the difference between, I would say, a goal and a milestone. Okay, so if you, if this is of interest to you and you have, you just, I don't say trouble, but you struggle with creating a timeline, creating the milestones, creating small goals and targets, I want to help you to create a workable plan for your big vision. Right? You have a big vision, like you want to launch a course or you want to launch a one-on-one program, a group program, whatever you're trying to launch, you have to create these milestones and these I call them tiny targets or smaller goals, right? You have to create these things so that you have a win. Because if you create a huge giant goal like I want a six-figure year, what the heck does that even look like? That's a nice goal. Or I want to launch my program, but there are, smaller subsets of tasks that actually go into creating even an online course, right? There's phase one of deciding what your offer actually is. And I don't know what your offer actually is, and like who's it going to go out to, like where are you going to market it, like so many different phases of the project. But we just think, oh, I want to launch an online course or I want to launch a group program. And it's like, well, yes, but how are you actually going to get to that goal? That's what this launch strategy workshop is all about. It's helping you, right, create those small goals, create the milestones, and looking at the long-term plan so that you're not overwhelmed. A lot of times we get overwhelmed because it's like, oh, I just want to have this goal, and we're not looking at it um, from a standpoint of subtasks. And a lot of times when clients come to me and they want to build like even like a small funnel, an introductory funnel, lead magnet funnel, I'm like, okay, there are phases to this, right? Because there's graphic design, there's copy, there's the tech piece, there's all different pieces that go into creating even a simple opt-in lead magnet. So again, if you're interested in joining the workshop, the old pricing was two for $20. Today, going forward until Thursday, it's going to be two for $45. And if you're a single lady struggling to find a bestie to bring to the workshop, send me a DM and I can send you the single lady price. But really, it is best to bring a bestie. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. It's my dinner time. So, yeah, I'll see you guys again soon and talk to you later. Bye.